Okay, it's a Tuesday, not the first of the month, not payday, nothing's due. Danny's 29, she cleans teeth for a living, makes $58,000 a year, and she's standing in line for coffee with her phone out. She opens her banking app, glances at the number, and then she just closes it, puts the phone back in her pocket, orders the medium. That's the whole moment. Nothing happened. And that nothing is the most expensive thing in this video, because most people never get to have it. For most people, opening that app on a random Tuesday is a small act of bravery. There's a flinch, a quick math problem you didn't want to do. Danny used to flinch too. 3 years ago, she'd close the app without even looking, the way you look away from a bill you already know is bad. So what changed? Here's the part nobody says straight. It wasn't motivation. She didn't want it more than you do. She isn't more disciplined than you are. She built something. And once it was built, she got to stop thinking about money on a Tuesday. That's what we actually mean by comfortable. Not rich, comfortable. The comfortable aren't the people who try hardest with money. They're the people who had to think about it the least. And they got there with mechanics, not motivation. 6 of them. Let me walk you through each one, and let me show you the cost of skipping it. First one, the comfortable pay themselves before they're awake enough to argue. Here's what that looks like. Danny gets paid on the 15th and the 30th. At 12:01 the morning after each payday, before she's really registered the money as hers, a transfer quietly moves $300 out of checking into a separate account she made annoying to reach. No app for it on her phone, no card in her wallet. By the time she's awake and wanting things, the money's already gone somewhere she chose when she was calm. Now meet Marcus. Good guy, 31, makes a little more than her, $61,000 a year. And Marcus saves the way you were taught to. He waits to see what's left at the end of the month, and then he saves that. Except, there's never much left. Not because he's reckless, because what's left at the end of the month is a number the whole month spends eating. Same income, basically. One difference. Danny decided once, in advance, when she was thinking clearly. Marcus decides 30 times a month, in the moment, when he's tired and the day's been long. And the end of a tired day is the worst possible time to ask anyone to be smart with their money. 300 twice a month is $600 Danny genuinely isn't feeling. 6 months in, there's $3,600 sitting in an account she half forgets exists. The shift is tiny and it's everything. You don't save what's left over, you decide what's left over. Second one, the comfortable run their whole life at a discount, on purpose, forever. Most people, the second their income goes up, their life goes up to meet it. A raise lands, the lifestyle rises to match, and the gap between what you earn and what you spend stays exactly where it's always been, at 0. You've been broke at 3 different income levels, and you couldn't work out why. So here's the mechanic. Danny runs her entire life at about 80% of what she brings home, not as some heroic act of self-denial, as a setting. The other 20% isn't a target she's straining toward. It's a layer that's just always there, underneath everything, like a floor she never has to think about. You know what that 20% actually buys her? Quiet. When the car makes the noise, it's annoying instead of catastrophic. When her hours get cut 1 week, it's a shrug instead of a spiral. The spread isn't lazy money sitting still. The spread is the only thing standing between a bad week and a bad year. Marcus runs his life at 100%, some months 104, and the 4 lives on a credit card growing quietly in the dark. He's one transmission away from a genuinely bad month, every single month, and he never feels it until the noise starts. The shift. Comfort isn't a number you hit, it's a gap you keep. Third one. And this is the one people don't want to hear, because the advice you've been handed your whole life is a lie of omission. You've heard it 1,000 times. Skip the coffee, cancel a streaming service, the latte thing. $4 at a time, like that's where your comfort quietly went to die. It isn't. The truth is more boring, and a lot bigger than that. Your money is mostly decided by 3 or 4 numbers, and you set most of them years ago and then stopped looking. Your rent, your car payment, your insurance, the apartment you stretched for, the car you financed at 26. Those numbers don't ask your permission once a month. They just leave, automatically, before you've made a single conscious choice all day. When Danny moved, she didn't find a place she fell in love with and reach for it. She found the place that did the job and kept $400 a month out of her fixed column. $400 every month that she never has to feel, never has to resist, never has to be strong about. One decision, made one time, paying her every 30 days for the length of the lease. Marcus is disciplined about the small stuff and bleeding from the big stuff. He'll agonize over a $9 lunch, then carry a car payment $400 over what he needed for 6 years and never once connect the two. The shift. You probably don't have a spending problem. You have 3 or 4 numbers you stop looking at. Get the big ones right once, and you never have to be a hero about the small ones again. Fourth one. Every money choice the comfortable make, they try to make exactly one time. Think about how much of your financial life runs on repeated decisions. Do I save this month? Do I move that money over? Do I finally bump up the retirement thing I keep meaning to bump up? Every one of those is a small tax on your attention, and attention runs out way before the month does. So Danny turned the choices into settings. Her retirement contribution climbs by 1% automatically every year on a date she will never once remember without her lifting a finger. She felt the first bump, barely. By the 3rd year, she's putting away a meaningfully bigger slice of her income, and she never had to sit down and decide to. The system decided, on some Tuesday, while she was doing something else entirely. This, honestly, is the real split between these two. Marcus's plan lives in his willpower, which means it lives or dies on whether today happened to be a good day. Danny's plan lives in the wiring, and the wiring does not care what kind of day she had. The shift. Motivation is a decision you have to make all over again tomorrow. A system is a decision you only ever make once. Fifth one, and it's sneaky. The comfortable aren't better at resisting temptation. They've just set their life up so they bump into a lot less of it. We tell this story about wealthy people where they've got this iron willpower, staring down every want and crushing it flat. Mostly not true. What they've actually got is friction in the right places. The savings is easy to add to and a pain to pull from. The fun money's right there and ready, but the credit card isn't saved in the browser, so every impulse buy has to survive 90 seconds of typing in 16 digits by hand. 90 seconds doesn't sound like a defense. 90 seconds is where most impulse purchases quietly go to die. Not because you got strong, because you got bored before the wanting finished. Danny made saving frictionless and spending slightly annoying. Marcus has it the other way round, like most of us were set up to from the start. 1 tap to buy, 3 steps and a transfer, and a little stab of guilt to save. The whole thing is tilted toward the leak, and then we sit there blaming ourselves for leaking. The shift. You don't need more discipline. You need less temptation reaching you in the first place. And look, if anything's clicked for you so far, it's probably that one, because it's the one that
lets you off the hook a little.
If you've spent years quietly furious at yourself for not being good with money, I'd think about subscribing, because this entire channel runs on the thing you just felt. The problem was almost never your willpower. It was a machine nobody ever sat you down and taught you to build. We take one hidden piece of it apart every week. Okay, last one. 6th, and it's the hardest of all of them because it looks exactly like doing nothing. Once the machine's built, the job quietly changes. The job becomes leaving it alone. Not checking it every day looking for a reason to react. Not yanking the money out for a deal that supposedly won't wait. Not tearing the whole thing down every few months to rebuild it slightly smarter. Just letting the boring middle happen. This is where that scoreboard does its quiet work. Danny's automatic 300 twice a month, plus the spread, plus the rising percent, sitting in low-cost index funds doing nothing interesting for years on end. Year 1, it's almost funny how small it looks. Year 4, it stops being funny. And by the time it actually starts to matter, she's barely been paying attention to it. That's the entire point. Marcus, meanwhile, has started over 4 separate times. New app, new system, new burst of motivation every January, torn back down by March. He isn't lazy, he's exhausted. He's been running on willpower for 10 years, and willpower was never built to go that distance. The shift. The last skill isn't doing more. It's leaving a good machine alone long enough to let it work. And to be fair to Marcus, and to you if any of this has stung a little, motivation isn't worthless. It's real, and you need it. It's the thing that gets the first transfer set up, the thing that signs the cheaper lease, the thing that flips on the automation in the first place. It just was never meant to be the engine. It's the key you turn once. The mistake almost everyone makes is trying to power the whole car by turning the key over and over, forever, until their arm gives out. So, back to that Tuesday. Danny in line for coffee, opening the app, closing it, ordering the medium. You get now why nothing happened. The transfer already happened weeks ago while she slept. The spread is already sitting there. The big fixed numbers got handled once, years back. The percent climbs on its own. The friction's all pointing the right way. The machine is just running underneath an ordinary Tuesday, and she gets to not think about it. That's the actual prize, not a yacht, not a number you get to shout about. The freedom to open the app on a forgettable Tuesday and feel nothing at all. Comfort, when you take it properly apart, is mostly just the absence of money panic. And panic is what you get when every single dollar depends on you being strong today. Not one of these 6 is about wanting it more than the next person. Not one. They're about wanting to think about it less and being willing to build the thing that lets you. Marcus could start any one of them this week. So could you. The machine doesn't care how the last 10 years went. It only starts the day you stop trying to outrun your money with sheer effort and start quietly building the thing that runs without you. Motivation gets you to the starting line. After that, it was always the machine. Build the boring thing, then go order the medium.